Haven't seen her in a while.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to March 1st, 2023, MidBeach Neighborhood Association, or MBNA's monthly meeting. MBNA represents condominiums and hotels from 24th to 63rd Street along Indian Creek Drive and Collins Avenue. I'm Ana Maria Ferreira de Melo, and I'm current president of MBNA. And with us today, we have our board of directors, our vice president, Deborah Lake, present.
Yeah, I already did the roll call.
Justin Jacobs, our treasurer. Justin, thank you for being with us today. Esteban Porcelli. Thank you, Esteban. Oscar Vasquez.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Oscar. And Oscar's also our Beach and Water Quality Working Group Chair. Thank you for being with us. Michelle Redlick is absent at this moment. I believe Jose Flores will be joining us in just a few moments. And we also have Alicia Casanova, who will be facilitating today's meeting. She is also the chair of the Collins Avenue North Working Group. Alicia?
I'm here. Hi, welcome everyone.
Thank you. So today's meeting is really just going to be an overview of where we are at, some of our projects, some of the upcoming meetings where we can dive into each of these items a little more in depth. And then after today's meeting, you'll receive an email with a summary of where we are. We're going to talk about our working groups, the Collins Avenue North and South, and we're going to speak about the public space working group, and which includes the Miami Beach Drive project, the Beach and Water Quality Working Group, some of our work around sargassum and beach concessions. We're also going to have our guest speaker today, Captain Greg Baldwin with the police department. They have been working very hard over this last month and a half to help us here in MidBeach to alleviate traffic, to help things flow, to keep us safe, to bring more presence along 41st Street, Collins Avenue, and the Beach Walk. We're very grateful for all of their efforts. And we're going to have a moment for them to be able to give us an update, share with us not only some of the work that they have been doing, but what are some adjustments that they'll be making, especially during this high impact month with spring break around the corner. So we're looking forward to hearing from them. Next month, April 19th, please mark the date. It's our annual meeting. We'll be voting for new board of director members. If you're interested in running, there'll be an intent to run letter that will be sent this coming week. Please feel free to nominate yourself before April 1st, and then we'll send it out to everybody for voting. On April 19th, our guest of honor will be City Manager Alina Hudak, and she has been confirmed. We're looking very forward to it. As all of you know, MBNA meets on the first Wednesday of the month, but in April, the first and second Wednesday are going to be observing Passover this year, and therefore we'll be meeting on April 19th. Before we go into today's agenda, approve the last draft of the minutes, or talk about the treasurer report, or introduce our elected officials and special guests that are with us today, I'd like to hand over the facilitation and co-hosting to Alicia Casanova, Deborah Lake, and Oscar Vasquez. Thank you.
She's got a cold and she's been coughing and she didn't want to admit it, but we don't want to burden her throat, and that is why. But she's young and beautiful and healthy, so she'll be just fine. Go ahead, Deb, you want to take it from here? And we can start with Oscar's presentation of the Beach and Quality Working Group. We first do introductions of our elected officials. Who's with us here today? We have the office of the mayor's office. Robert Novo is here, right?
Yes, hi. I'm here on behalf of Vice Mayor Stephen Minor.
Oh, Stephen Minor, okay. Welcome.
Yes.
Shevrin Jones, introduce yourself, Mr. Jones.
Hello, how are you? State Senator Shevrin Jones, Senate District 34. Good to be here.
Welcome. He's been sending in his rep for our last couple of meetings, so that's wonderful. We have, let me see. Oh, there's Marina there for Shevrin Jones. Okay, we got two for Shevrin Jones. Oh, that's wonderful. So Michael Gongora, one of our original founders and And as we know, he's running for mayor. Michael, just a few words for you.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you to my MidBeach neighbors, friends, and other elected officials and interested parties. Good to be with you tonight.
I was short and sweet. There's Michelle. Michelle Redlick is here, so we're only missing Jose Flores, and we've got our whole board. Annie is with us here today, so that's good. Diana, who are you with? Are you working for the city? Tell
I
us.
am actually here as me. I'm the MidBeach resident now.
Oh, so you just heard Annie saying that we have elections coming up. Did you just hear that?
But somebody told me.
Oh, little bird. So that sounds interesting. Okay, so you're not working for the city at this time?
No, I still work for the city, but right now I'm in the capacity as a resident of Miami Beach. I'm 60th and Collins now.
Okay, well, welcome. We have Monica, the aide to Commissioner Alex Fernandez is here. Monica, introduce yourself real quick. Well, I just did, but go ahead.
Hi everybody. Great to be here. I work with Commissioner Fernandez. He will be joining soon. I'm sure you guys know there's a special commission meeting being held. So when that's finished, he will hop on. So, but great to be here. So thank you.
Okay, so what time until what are you calculating the meeting to end? Do we know?
We don't know. There's no way. I think soon, probably within the next 30 to 45 minutes. But there's no way to really know.
It's so hard because we always try to coordinate our MBNA meetings around the city meetings, and sometimes it's not possible, or they have special meetings, or
Yeah,
we do our best.
Yeah.
We do our best to not step on the
You
toes
do.
of the city, but
yes,
okay.
it is tough, and I understand. But I'm here, and I'll put my email address in the chat so that way anyone can contact me if they need to get a hold of Commissioner Fernandez. So
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Anna Maria, anything? You're taking a talking break?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Everyone. I just also want to recognize some of the city staff and those that are here. Senator Jones, I know that Marina's been with us the last couple of meetings, and she's been wonderful in the correspondence. We've had, I'd like to just hear from you a little bit. What was it like yesterday meeting everybody at the MDU annual meeting? What has it been like serving in the beginning of your term? And what brings you with us here today?
Thank you. I appreciate it. We got the invitation to come out today, and because I can't be in multiple places at one time, we split the team up in multiple areas to attend meetings to make sure that we stay informed, and they come and they share with me. The meeting yesterday with Miami Beach United was absolutely amazing. Having the chance to share with the residents what's about to come in Tallahassee as we prepare for the legislative session to start on Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m. And just spoke about the tone and the tenor that we are looking at moving into in this legislative session. And so, I mean, that's the reason why I came, because just to give just a brief update on what's about to happen in Tallahassee and some of the things that we are pushing. I know we are working with our Representative Basabe on quite a few dollars that will be coming back to the city of to Miami Beach and some of the areas that we cover. I think upwards to probably about $23 million. A lot of those dollars are resiliency dollars that will be coming in. And also working with the Department of Economic Opportunity on dollars that is coming to the city of Miami Beach that my Representative Basabe and I are also working on. If just in case anyone wants to know some of the highlights of bills that I would just kind of advise the Miami Beach residents and people in general just to be very cognizant of. One of them is Senate Bill 466. I think I have that number correct, and if not, I will have Marina to send that to you to look more into it. But 466, which is a preemption bill that strictly says that local governments would not be able to create any ordinances against any environmental or anything that I'll give you an example. If you want to create a ordinance when it comes to water quality, or like what many people spoke about yesterday as it pertains to anchoring, the state wants to preempt cities to be able to doing that. I think the Miami-Dade delegation, both Democrats and Republicans, are looking at this as too far of an overreach, and we need to ensure that those who are elected in cities and those who have elected them, that they are able to govern those cities to the best of their abilities. And I don't think Tallahassee should have anything to do with what cities are doing to make sure that their residents are safe. And so it will be a continuation of a lot of preemptions that's happening. And I believe in home rule. We'll continue to fight for home rule. I just think that this is a legislative session that is worth everyone watching. We will continue to be as vocal as we can be and as we should be in these moments. And would love to make sure that Marina, Joe, and Miles stay in constant communication with you all. And my hope is that even during the time of session, that I at least do a pop in to kind of tell you where we are at midpoint with the legislative session. And if you want to look at what that tone will look like in this next in session coming up, the governor's state address will happen on Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. And that's how you'll really find out what that tone is going to look like as we move into this session in the next few days.
Thank you so much, Senator, for that update. And we do look forward to being in communication and hearing from you midway through. We have a couple items today that may that also impact your area or may impact the legislative session. And so if you're able to stay around, or if Marina is, we always welcome your participation throughout today's meeting.
I appreciate that. I do have at 6:30, I have to be somewhere, but I'm going to transfer from my face to on my phone, but I'll still be listening, but Marina will be on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We have with us Daniel Reyes from Commissioner Higgins' office, Eileen Higgins' office. Hi, Daniel. I didn't introduce you before.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Okay, you want to proceed? Let's start with Captain Baldwin's presentation so he can update us. I see we have Officer Hazy, who is with us. He is always present for the MBNA, a dear friend of the MBNA for quite a few years. Lieutenant Luis Sanchez, I don't see him, but I see his name is there as well. But let's start with Captain Baldwin. And thank you so much for all you're doing for us since our last meeting. I know we were rough and we were a little upset. Obviously, we were going through a lot in that particular week, but you're here and you've made a difference, and that we've seen it. The presence of the Miami Beach Police Department has certainly been visible, and visible giving tickets out, which is, I think, made a difference. People are saying, let's not go through there because we're going to get a ticket if we cut through, or we block 41st Street and so forth. And we're looking forward to hearing your numbers and what has been done since our last meeting.
Well, if that was the roughest thing I had to deal with, I'm doing okay. You guys you ask the questions and I give the answers as best I can. Thank you for having me tonight. As always, I'm honored to be here. I have to admit, I wasn't aware I was the guest speaker until a couple hours ago. So I may not have a full presentation, but I'll see if I can address some of the things that you brought up. First of all, what's on everyone's mind is traffic. As you know, it's quite a conundrum. There's very little place to move people to. We have started out, we have a sergeant and 4 officers every day out there for afternoon rush hour on 41st Street. We supplement that with our motors, and our 41st Street beat officer is out there at 41 and Chase to assist. And mainly they're trying to stop block the box, which is a big problem, especially for residents who need to go north and south across the 41st Street corridor. Going east and west is still a trial, and I don't know how much we're going to have effect, but it's a citywide issue, a countywide issue, really. A lot of our backups are caused by what happens on 95 and 195 and the construction down on 395, which forces more people up to the middle. But our units out there on 41st Street are averaging probably 50 to 70 citations a day during rush hour. A good portion of those are block the box, though those are diminishing because people are learning. I mean, we spoke last time about voluntary compliance. and that seems to be happening. The officers who are out there are doing a good job. They are being very active, and I know that it gets frustrating sitting in traffic, but we're really doing our best out there. I think they're making a dent, but again, it takes everyone to address this, and that's from the city and from the police department working together. And hopefully we'll get through this. We do have spring break coming up, which I'll touch on a little bit later. I know the last meeting we had, 41st and Indian Creek, was a major issue. I know a lot of folks wanted to keep the 41st Street west from Collins to the Creek open while the 2 lanes continued. And I think that the main understanding that I got from Jose Gonzalez and Commissioner Fernandez was that since it's a state intersection, they really have to rework it, and the state moves much slower sometimes than we would like them to. But that being said, if we open the 2 lanes south to go west on 41st Street, that lane coming westbound from 41 and Collins, we're trying to squeeze 3 lanes into 2. So that's the issue. But anyhow, I digress.
So regarding that, we have a meeting. I just want to throw this in here since we're talking about that. We managed, Anna Marie managed to get a meeting with FDOT for March 9th. That's Thursday, March 9th. Everybody put it on your calendars. It's on the homepage of the MBNA website. And that's at 2:30 p.m. on that corner on Indian Creek and 41st Street. And we're going to meet with them to discuss exactly what you're talking about. So I know Commissioner Fernandez has been working on this with us, so he's hopefully gonna be there as well. It's not rush hour time, so we thought it was a terrible time because they need to be there in the morning when it's clogged up, or in the afternoon, not in the middle of the day when there's hardly any traffic, but we get what we get. So we're gonna be there at 2:30 p.m. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
Half the battle's getting the meeting. And I'd of course be remiss to say that the folks you have advocating for you in the commission are doing a fantastic job. The assistants who are all here really do a great job day in, day out, and it's a pleasure to work with the folks. But let me move on to the beach walk a little bit. We do have an officer who's been out there. They work from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. and that's it's one officer. And while they're tasked with covering the entirety of the beach walk, a lot of their time is spent in MidBeach. And they're supplemented by the park the park rangers out there. For example, I spoke to Sergeant Torres, who's in charge of that initiative. For the month of February, they had 10 traffic citations out there. This is just the officer, and 145 verbal warnings. Again, sometimes the warnings go a little bit further than the citations would. Citations tend to be a little bit of a last resort, maybe repeat offenders, or the like. Most of the folks who use the beach walk are more than happy to be compliant, so the verbal warnings tend to do a good job. They completed 40 homeless outreach missions, which is basically making contact with the homeless folks along the corridor, offering them services, and as a last resort, making an arrest. I don't know that they made any arrests for homeless. Well, you can't be arrested for homeless, but for peripheral charges. The park rangers, of course, they're out there quite a bit. They cover 26 to 46th Street in the middle. They had 3,400 verbal warnings. They, of course, can't issue citations, but they do verbal warnings. Of those, 1,200 were for the motorized vehicle verbal warnings. They did have a couple written warnings, 13 of them, and those can be also citations for smoking in non-designated places, citations like that. They assisted us with calls 71 times. They assisted on 6 of our arrests. So the Park Rangers is a great program. They're doing a fantastic job, and they really help us multiply our force out there and really increase our visibility. So I know that the issues still remain. I get the emails, of course, from your members and other members, and so we're trying to address them. What we have coming up now is spring break. Actually, we're in spring break. Spring break is a month-long process in Miami Beach, and it ramps up after 2 weeks till we have the majority of the folks coming down here, which is after like the 13th of March. For the next 2 weeks is when it gets really busy. During that time, for the first 2 weeks, that's this week and next week, officers are working extended shifts. So we should have a little more presence. They're continuing on their regular days off, but they're working longer shifts. So we have more overlap and a little more flexibility with officers. And then in the next 2 weeks, it will be an all hands on deck issue. Everyone will be working 5 days a week and staggering their hours and really working to address things. We'll have a couple extra people in Area 2, which is Middle Beach. But of course, obviously, most of our forces will be directed towards South Beach, where most of the issues arise. And we're hoping to keep it contained, keep it quiet, have a wonderful spring break for everyone, and keep everyone safe. So I think those are the three main areas. If there's anything else anyone would like to ask me, I'm more than happy to address it.
Captain, regarding the beach walk, is there any place we can find out how many accidents or bicycle situations have come up? Is there a record of incidents on 41st by any chance that we can get a hold of? Because some people say, I just fell and an ambulance came, or I saw a bicycle running over somebody, and we go, well, did you report it? Did you call it? And a lot of people are asking that, and we don't have any answers. If you can let us know or guide us through that, that would be wonderful.
Well, I could reach out to our accident investigation unit and see if they have numbers on that. But again, you're right. Sometimes two people collide, a bike hits a person, everyone's okay, and they get up and they walk away. And of course, they don't report it, but I mean, it's a major incident in that person's life, whether they were transported to the hospital or not.
Exactly.
But we don't mind. No matter how minor it is, you can give us a call. We're more than happy to respond out there and assist with that, and we can walk people through the procedure if they need it. But I'll get with Sergeant Price, who's in charge of our accident investigation unit, and I'll see if he has the numbers that I can supply. I can get them to you. That
would be wonderful. So at least we can give an educated response. And Senator Jones, I think he's back, or Marina, you're still there. I know he had to run out. When we were talking about the 41st Street intersection, that's coming up on our agenda tonight, but I guess we're talking about it in advance. Has he been able to follow up on this? Is he aware if this traffic study has indeed come in? Is the traffic study being done by the FDOT or by the city? Where is it? When can we get our hands on it? Do you have any of those answers for us today?
Yeah, so I do have a few. Senator Jones did reach out to FDOT and has spoken to Secretary Miller about the report. I know from the last meeting you all had shared that that they still hadn't shared it with the city or with anyone. So we can confirm that it has been made. We do expect hopefully to receive that soon. And as soon as we do, we'll make sure to share it with all the HOAs. Senator Jones did also ask Secretary Miller to host a town hall within Miami Beach regarding the traffic. So as soon as we have more details about that, we'll make sure that everyone can be a part of it.
Thank you. Is there any chance it'll be ready before March 9th, before next Thursday, do you think? Oh, here's the senator joining in from his phone now. Wait, let me see. There he is. Yes, so hopefully before March 9th, if we had that traffic study, a chance to look at it before we meet on site, because we're going to be meeting right there, that would be so beneficial to all of us to know what exactly is being planned or what the results of their study showed as far as the 2 lanes going westbound and the 1 lane being left open, making a left on Collins and 41st. Those are the main issues, and how long this project is going to take. I heard from one of the commissioners in a newsletter that she sent that apparently they discussed it at the commission meeting and they said, oh, that's years away. And I'm not sure how that, I haven't heard that transcript, but that's what apparently was said, that so it's not something that's being discussed now, and we want to prioritize that. So if you can help us, thank you, Senator, for helping us with that. We know you are assisting with getting this information and this traffic study for us so we can look into it. So we appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay. So I was going to start with Oscar Vasquez, but if you want, I'm already on Collins, so I might as well finish 41 North and South, and then you take it over, Oscar, or you're ready to start, whichever way you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Before we go on, I just had a quick question for Captain Baldwin, or a comment actually. Last year, at one particular point, they took a few weeks and ramped up the intensity on the policing of the motorized vehicles on the beach walk, and it's starting to get pretty bad again. Obviously, there's the increase in electric bicycles that go extremely fast, but some people are really pushing the envelope on that with scooters and really fast equipment. So I know it's a drag on resources, but if you could help us out in that area just to kind of get the word out that no electric vehicles are allowed on the beach walk, it would be great.
Yeah, Oscar, thank you. And it's understood. There's a couple challenges when it comes to policing the boardwalk. For us, it's relatively remote, and posting someone out there poses challenges with responding to other emergencies throughout the zone. I've been looking into getting a detail out there. However, the traffic became a priority on 41st Street. But once we get past spring break, because right now we're having officers work extended hours and different days off, so it's quite a drain on the department right now in order to keep things safe and in order. But I can address that more focused after spring break. But in the meantime, I can bring it up to my lieutenant's attention. My lieutenants happen to be on the call tonight. If you see them, Lieutenant Luis Sanchez, you guys may remember him. He was the Marine Patrol Sergeant for a long time. I'm sure you've seen him here. Lieutenant Joey Gonzalez, he's on midnight shift. He does a great job, and really his efforts have made a great dent on crime in the residential areas that we had a slight uptick in. And Lieutenant Eddie Garcia, who's our day shift lieutenant, again, fantastic job. All three of these guys are a real help to us, and really take it personal when we assign details for really any neighborhood in the area. But we always like to focus on different areas that we're experiencing issues with, and so we will certainly put the beach walk on the radar, and hopefully we can get something more focused right after spring break.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Captain Baldwin? I know the chat, electric bikes driving too fast, cops can't stop them on a golf cart. That's what you were just discussing now. And let me see what else is on the chat. Yes, signalization, which is the synchronicity of the traffic lights. I think those have improved. We've seen traffic in the last 2 days, surprisingly better. And I think it's because of that. There was a lot of issues going on with the traffic on Pine Tree and 41st. Can anybody speak about that? Have they indeed fixed that? Because it was an issue. Let's keep our eyes out. Let's hope it stays calm. Instead of 2 hours for people to get home, an hour and a half, we'll take anything we can take, because it was really, really bad for the past month. The employees were all threatening to leave, and they just couldn't take it anymore. It was just awful. Let me see.
Alicia?
Yes.
Hi, Alicia.
Hi,
It's
Jose.
Jose. If I
Yes.
may, just real quick on that comment.
Great.
So we have been working with FDOT and the county to try to squeeze seconds, for more green time for 41st Street traffic, east and west. The county, at our request, has taken a couple different actions. Again, just seconds here and there that we've been able to identify and allocate to the east-west traffic, but every second helps, as they say. So that may be some of that improvement in coordination and longer green time that you may have experienced. I say that, I know there have been a couple good days regarding traffic, but as I always say, when a road exceeds capacity, when the amount of cars on a road exceeds the capacity offered by the number of lanes on that road, there isn't any signal timing that's gonna help that situation, because that's just that's an overcapacity issue, and that does happen frequently at peak times when there's just too much volume trying to get in through that corridor.
And anything we can get, is there somebody monitoring that? Is that something that is being watched? I mean, not just change the timing, the signal is times, and then all of a sudden, there's hardly any cars and you're stopping cars. Is that being monitored somehow? Or is that a fantasy that we used to hear that somebody was monitoring the one on 50th and Collins and then improved, and then all of a sudden it went bad again and then it improved again? How does that work? Just for our knowledge.
Monitoring in terms of monitoring signal timing or monitoring
signal timing
conditions?
Well, looking at the traffic and saying, okay, if the traffic is heavy, let's give them green. Or the traffic, is that automated 24/7?
No, it's not an automated process. The signals don't have that capability to adapt to real-time traffic demands and make changes on the fly. That needs to be done manually through either the county or our consultant. We have a consultant that is engaged and focusing on 41st Street and working closely with the county so that if there is an incident, if something happens and signal timing needs to change to give more green time, or something, as I say, goes off whack, one of the signals goes off whack and it starts acting, giving just, not being coordinated with the other signals, which could happen after a power outage, for example, or something like that. That is monitored and addressed as soon as possible, as soon as we're made aware of it. So we do have folks, yes, monitoring, looking at cameras
in real time. The question is somebody monitoring it in real time? There's a line along and there's a red light here, there's nobody on the cross, let's say Pine Tree or Chase or Prairie or whatever, let them go, and then can we look into that? You're saying you have somebody from the city looking into it, or from the county?
We have a traffic monitor. It's a consultant, and they monitor traffic conditions citywide and incidents that could be creating traffic. But in terms of what you're describing, I think it's more, the police presence out there on 41st and making those on the spot decisions depending on what it is that they're experiencing, seeing what it is that they're seeing. That is,
maybe that's something we never thought about. Maybe the police can overrule a red light when the traffic is just so congested. Can you just go, somebody standing there saying, go, go, go? Is that a possibility? I don't know. That's up to you all to look into and decide, because sometimes what is being said in the chat is true. It's ridiculous. We're stopping there and, and there's no cross traffic and you're stopping the traffic just because it's timed that way. And that, if that were to improve, I think the whole situation on Collins and Indian Creek would improve as well. So we have to move on. Let's welcome Commissioner Stephen Miner is here with us now. He joined in.
Great to see you all.
Good to see you. We were missing you. He's always present at our meetings.
Yeah, we just finished a special commission meeting about the Inspector General. By the way, I've talked about that with police. One of the arguments they've told me is sometimes it gets so backed up on the causeway, even if they let all the traffic through, there's nowhere to go. So,
yeah, sometimes yes and sometimes no. We've seen it where the causeway is empty. And 41st is, well, not empty, but 41st Street is just completely bumper to bumper. And why have a green light at that particular moment? Anyway, that's something that needs to be looked at. But as long as somebody is monitoring it, that's what we wanted to hear. So welcome. All the commissioners are joining. Yay, Commissioner Fernandez is here as well. Thank you for joining us. We were talking about 41st and ICD a little while ago. We're jumping back and forth. Captain Baldwin, we were thanking him for his efforts. Commissioner Miner, you missed that, and he gave a little presentation. on all that's being done to help alleviate traffic mainly. And then, of course, on the beach walk as well, and the situation with the electric vehicles on the beach walk, which is always a problem that we confront. But the traffic, they've been much better this month since our last meeting, and we understand they're giving fines. One question that we've had, we got an email actually, and it's so true. So let's all picture ourselves going southbound on ICD. We're about to make a right on 41st. There is no sign that says that you can't make a right from the second lane. There's an island there, and then there's a lane. So everybody makes a right. You've got the stanchions blocking you, but people are going on the second lane, the middle lane, and going around the little island. And there's nothing there that says no right turn. So people are arguing, you can't give me a ticket there because it doesn't say no right turn. Do you understand, Captain Baldwin? Maybe that's for you, the question of what I'm talking about, which is true. You can make a right legally, correct?
I don't want to give you a complete answer because I think the answer is no, based on the island and the delineators there. But I wouldn't just assume that you can do it. I think that since that right turn lane is there, it overrules it. And based on the tightness with the traffic coming the other way, the chances of getting an accident are really heightened. So I can't give you.
Do we need a sign? I mean, I don't know if we need a sign. We may need a
I
sign.
can't give you a perfect answer right now. I will look into it.
Okay.
But again, and I'm sure as Jose will say, that's a state road. So that would be up for them to put the sign. But I will look into it and see if it is legal or illegal to make the turn, because I don't want to give out.
Somebody got a ticket and they were really upset. They're saying, and it went on our chat for quite a few exchanges. How can they give me a ticket? There's no way. That's a total legal right turn. Anyway, look at it. We don't want to take up time with that.
That seems to be the response a lot of times when people get tickets.
I know. But then I looked at it and I said, you know what? It is tempting to go around all those, 5 blocks of bumper to bumper, just turn and make a right.
Sometimes it's tempting to drive against traffic to get ahead of it all as well. That doesn't make it right, but I'll look into it. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me see who else has joined. Okay. Any other chats here? Okay. So let's go on. So we have a couple of meetings. Remember, all our meeting dates and times and locations and everything is posted on midbeach.net. You should all have midbeach.net on your cell phones. And one of the ones that's coming up is on March 29th regarding Collins Avenue North. Commissioner Fernandez and Commissioner Minor on the 9th, which is Thursday the 9th at 2:30. Anna Marie secured a meeting with the FDOT on site at Indian Creek ICD. And I know Commissioner Fernandez had a lot to do with that. He's been working tremendously on that. Maybe you can give us a little update on it, Commissioner Fernandez, as well. Go ahead, unmute.
Sure, and thank you. We're relentlessly putting pressure on FDOT to complete this study. The ball is completely on their court now, and their commitment was March. The study would be completed, and I certainly want to see this study before we go out there. One of the things you were mentioning, and I overheard you mentioning about who's monitoring the lighting on 41st Street, the signalization, and perhaps Jose, our transportation director, can expand on this if he's still on the line.
And he's there.
One of the things that we've done is also hire a consultant for the optimization of the timing, and that's important because synchronization is great, but they're not synchronized in the right sequencing, then synchronization means nothing. And so yes, we want to synchronize, but we want to synchronize it to the proper traffic pattern. And I don't know, Jose, if what I've stated is accurate, or if you want to expand on it.
It is, Commissioner. What we've done, there was a resolution that you sponsored that requested the county and FDOT to review the synchronization along our major thoroughfares, including 5th Street, 41st, 63rd, and Collins Avenue. And so that's been shared. with both the county and FDOT. There's a collaboration between county and FDOT in terms of synchronization on these major corridors because the corridors are state-owned, but the synchronization of lights is mostly under the county's purview. So there's collaboration there, and they've already reached out to us to develop an action plan going forward to synchronize all those corridors. Optimize, I think is the word, to optimize the synchronization of all those
And we've
corridors.
hired the consultant for that already, Jose?
And we do have also our own consultant that conducted an independent review of the 41st Street corridor only, because that was the urgency for 41st. And Commissioner, one of the things I mentioned earlier is that our consultant was able to identify little opportunities here and there for a few more seconds here and there, to squeeze out of the cycle of the signal cycle, and that has been allocated to east-west green time along 41st.
And one of the things I'm going to be looking at, I try to go out there on a regular basis to experience what's going on, and oftentimes I bring out Jose. Jose has been out there on 41st Street with me, as has the assistant city manager over transportation. Other times I go by myself to experience it. But what has been brought to my attention is that over time, there has been changes to the amount of traffic lights that have been added that perhaps other times were not required, or perhaps there has been an increase in the amount of crosswalks that have been added more than what is required. That also affects the flow of traffic. And so I just want to make sure that I want to review so that during peak traffic hours, perhaps some of those extra signal traffic lights shouldn't be functioning. Maybe during certain peak hours, those extra traffic lights or these extra crosswalks shouldn't be functioning, and they should be there for hours during which we don't have as much traffic. And I have to run to another meeting, but the one last thing I just want to leave with you guys, because it's MidBeach related. I did have an item yesterday at the neighborhoods committee about the cleanliness of two beach entrances in MidBeach, 29th Street and 24th Street. The city has done a beautiful job upgrading 26th Street, 25th Street, but 29th doesn't look the cleanest. There's no bollards there. There's missing some lights. There's constantly vehicles going in there. So I asked the city to go in and look at the landscaping there. And similarly, on 24th Street, there's no bollards there. There hasn't been any pressure cleaning. There's some grime around there. And I've asked the city to go out there to walk it, to pressure clean it, and to make a look at the standard that it should be. So I just wanted to leave that with you guys as well.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We have noticed that as well. Very, very important to follow up on that. So we're going to segue right into beach and water quality with Oscar Vasquez, our board member. And as soon as he starts, I'll share the screen and put a couple of things on there that you can.
Okay. Thank you, Elisa. And I'll be brief on the first three items, just kind of an update for all the members. Since we do have on March 15th, our next beach and water quality working group meeting. And this is essentially the agenda for that meeting. Sargassum has come front and center. Not sure if everybody read the article that we distributed, but Dr. Who studies sargassum for the University of South Florida, announced that this January he had already seen record levels of sargassums that exceeded all previous years. And more specifically, he's estimating that this year already we have 4 times what we normally have this time of year. So they're predicting essentially an onslaught of sargassum in the peak summer months. And we're trying to get ahead of that. In particular, the agenda is going to try to bring forward some suggestions that MBNA has identified within the current agreement that we might be able to better utilize the resources that we have within that agreement. to keep our beach clean. And then, of course, really looking at ways to up that to handle what we already know is going to be a very, very tough sargassum season. We also are going to touch on beach renourishment. And as all of you know, beach renourishment is right now between 44th and 49th, at 46. And in April, they're going to restation to 36th Street for the 23rd through 36th Street corridor. And that, of course, is a very important corridor for MidBeach because of the jetties that exist behind the addition and the excessive accumulation of sargassum that occurs because of the erosion of the beach in that area. And then on the agenda for that meeting is concessions. All of you should have received an email with the current concessions manual, rules and regulations published by the city. And we're, over the next couple of months, we're soliciting feedback from all of the members to things they would like to see looked at, changed, altered, modified within that concession agreement. I know many of you have had issues and concerns, so sure we have your feedback, and we are the next beach water quality meeting is March 15th. The subsequent one is April 26th. We changed that due to our face-to-face MBNA annual board meeting. However, that is when we hope to have the final document prepared and submitted to the city. Lastly, this actually falls under the public space area, but I've been quite involved because of some of the issues that I've encountered here at where I live at Club Atlantis. And it's really Miami Beach Drive. And Alicia is going to share some of the things that we have. We're scheduled to meet March 8th with some of the city folks, including hopefully the city attorney. And we want to move this project forward because the more we look, the more concerns develop. And if you go through the webpage, you'll see the reasons why MBNA is involved with this, as well as the many reasons why we feel that the city should clarify and take ownership of this public right-of-way and give it the necessary upgrades that are required. A number of safety concerns and tripping hazards that are being developed, and Commissioner Fernandez hinted to one of them. And of course, that one was the absence of bollards that are creating a lot of traffic in this area, and often with very heavy trucks. So we'd urge every member, especially those between 24th and 29th Street, to look through this, because essentially the city is indicating that unless something changes, the responsibility for maintenance and renovation of this area falls upon the properties. And that's a concern, especially in light of the new legislation that is going to be hitting condos in the near future, requiring us to establish reserves for things like this that we never anticipated. Alicia, I know you've worked a lot on this too. Anything else you want to add on that?
I mean, Commissioner Fernandez has his hand up. I think there is going to be a lot of surprises for, I mean, the evidence that Oscar has obtained is very, very clear. There were two lawsuits, and the depositions are here. You can open them up. Very interesting. A lot of interesting reading right over here on these two cases against two people that fell on the drive. And they sued both the city of Miami Beach and Club Atlantis. And Club Atlantis has all the documentation on that. And part of the documentation is that the city is claiming that Miami Beach Drive is the responsibility, that the maintenance of it is the responsibility of these condos that are listed here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 condos and 1 hotel, all private properties. So what the city is been saying to us for quite a while now is that the entire maintenance of this strip belongs to these towers, these private properties. Evidence shows otherwise, and we've done a lot of research, or Oscar has done a lot of research on it. I just posted up here. And what this would mean is that every single condo association, if this walkway, because it is a walkway, not a drive, if this walkway is indeed the responsibility of all these towers, then what does that mean for the condo associations that are facing the beach walk? That's a walkway as well. Anybody that falls there, we're liable. Do these condominiums have to insure Miami Beach Drive if somebody falls? On top of the burden that they're already going to be facing when the new bill goes through, that they have to pay a lot of money in reserves that they may not have otherwise been funded, and now it's going to be mandatory. Are they responsible for what it looks like, the aesthetics of it? Who is responsible for fixing this mess that you're going to see in just a minute here? Here you go. This is what's happening there right now. And of course, this is not ADA compliant because it does not meet the threshold of you can't have more than a 1/4 inch there, and all of these are not obviously ADA compliant. So anybody that falls here, that trips here right now, who is responsible? Is the city responsible? These are vehicles that are traversing through this area constantly that do not belong to the private properties. Abandoned poles. It's just a big mess, It's dirty, it's ugly, it's dangerous, it's a life safety issue, and that is why the MBNA is mainly involved. We want to make sure that the city understands that these condominiums cannot be held liable for something like this, and we don't want the city to be held liable either. We don't want the city to be sued again, because this is a big problem, and it's got to be taken care of. This, for example, is another reason. So who negotiated these bicycle stations? Certainly Triton didn't do it, and neither did Riviera. So if it's not the city, how could they install this here? And there's a million reasons. There's videos showing city vehicles. There's all kinds of evidence going through this area, and this has been happening for a while. And now the latest is we need to decide how it's going to be fixed. We're not even saying to make it beautiful, to make it this promenade that we wanted before. We're just saying make it safe, make it aesthetic, take care of the plumbing, take care of this horrific situation that's happening here, and make sure that the condominium associations understand that their insurance carriers are not liable, because if their insurance carriers get a whiff that they are responsible for the maintenance of this, I can't imagine what would happen to the finances of these condo associations. So Kevin, we know there's going to be a meeting coming up next week. I believe it's with the city attorney. Maybe Anna Marie, you can chime in here. Anna Marie, are you there?
I am.
Okay.
What you would like for me to chime in on the meeting itself?
On the meeting that's coming
all the
up.
properties abutting Miami Beach Drive to attend the meeting with us. We will be facilitating on behalf of the properties. We have a meeting as well this Friday with all of our properties. It will be the second meeting we've had. Aside from Atlantis Club, we've had several other properties that also have videos, communications, and reason to feel that this is a public space, it's a public asset, and that is the city's responsibility. And so we're hoping that we can figure out how we can improve this asset, how we can fix the flooding, if that's through GEO bond funding, if it's capital funding, or first, I think first line of order, as Alicia has said, is whose responsibility is this? And then most importantly, how are we going to get this fixed, and who's going to maintain this moving forward? I believe the city wanted to know a little more about what we were going to present in our position. So now you know, everything's on our website, and I think Alicia has done a great job giving an overview.
Right, we don't want any surprises. We don't want to have the city and us in an argument. We want to get it resolved. And so make sure that everybody knows that this is on. It's if you go into the projects of interest, public spaces working group, you scroll down here, and it's a subsection of the public spaces working group where it says Miami Beach Drive. So under projects of interest are all our working groups, everything that's being done everywhere. A lot of interesting reading if you want to go in there, including Collins North and Collins South and Indian Creek Drive. If you want to see the entire project filmed from drones that Esteban has been filming, it's fascinating to watch in there. Everything that we get, we always post. This is about transparency, so make sure that everybody reads it. And I know this is a surprise to some, but it's got to be discussed and it's got to be resolved ASAP. Commissioner Fernandez, go ahead.
Alicia, I want to tell you, I was not aware that the city had this position. I'm extremely disappointed that city staff did not notify me that there was these conversations going on, that the city had taken this position, especially given that I had an agenda item at a committee yesterday that city staff was at, and that not one person from city staff took the time to tell me that this is going on, that I'm sitting here through my constituents finding out that this is happening. Miami Beach Drive belongs to the residents and to the taxpayers of the city of Miami Beach. And its maintenance is the responsibility of the taxpayers of the city. And we have a big workforce to maintain it. My concern is if we take the position that it's not the city's property and that it's private property, we can kiss goodbye the quality of life of the residents who live in that area. Because we have great control over public right-of-ways when it's under the city's ownership. When it's a public right-of-way, we have laws to protect quality of life and to protect safety. But we kiss that away the moment we say it's private property. My position is, and my position will continue to be, it is the responsibility of this city. And not once have I heard from our public works department when I've complained to them about a leak, or about a lighting issue, or about a sanitation issue, or about a homeless issue, or about a safety issue, that is private property. And so the next time that I have an item on an agenda, and I hope whoever is here listening from city staff, the next time that I have an item on an agenda that relates to something like this, that staff is having a meeting about, please notify me. Please notify me, because it's not right to be kept in the dark and to find out in this manner. And I will work with our city attorney's office to draft legislation and to take whatever action needs to be taken to clarify that property belongs to the residents of our city. Every day I encounter residents who decide not to leave that area. They may move among that area. They may move from one unit in one building to another building, but they stay in that area because they enjoy that public asset. And so I'm happy to sponsor anything that's necessary legally to clarify it belongs to the public. And if we need to do any release or any other legal instrument to clarify that, I'm happy to work on it. But thank you for bringing it up. And I'm going to ask staff, since I was not made aware of this before, but I'm going to ask staff now if you to include me in this meeting on Wednesday, if it's okay with you.
Absolutely.
And Commissioner Fernandez, I apologize for interrupting, but I just want to thank you for your words. The one aspect that is missing from this that we had talked about at our executive board meeting on Monday that we wanted to add was the clip from the January 4th meeting where city staff very clearly, so we went through a public records request, which is recorded here, and through the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA request, and the information we received back is what's documented on this website. But what is missing is the clip from the city staff and the information sharing with us very clearly that this is not their responsibility on January 4th meeting at MBNA. And so we'll add that clip here just to make sure we all have the same information and we're all speaking the same language. And the sooner we can clarify this and collaborate with the city and being able to fix the area, the better. So thank you so much for your leadership and for your willingness to make this truly a public asset and something that is safe and enjoyable for everyone in our community.
And if we need to bring any legal instrument, if it's not clarified right now that it belongs to the public, and if we need to do releases or any deeding of anything over to the public, I'm happy to ask our city attorneys to work on that so that there's no ambiguity or question that it's a public asset and that we should be upkeeping it to the proper standards.
Thank you.
If you go to the legal documents in this case, including this long deposition, which is fascinating to read, there was no evidence. The city was not able to present evidence on April 15th, 2022. They were not able to present evidence that this was not city property, that this belonged to the owners. A lot of things in here go to the point. The condo associations are saying, if we own it, then let's landscape it, then put grass on it. We don't want strangers walking through there. We'll make it a playground for our communities. We'll resolve that problem. We're not going to take that liability, and it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
If you own it, then why are we having issues with homeless? When we have issues with homeless,
we would fence it in
to address the issue if it were private property.
Exactly. Everybody would fence it in and not have any homeless. We wouldn't share it with the public. It wouldn't be a public space, but it is a public space. There is no doubt. It doesn't have a folio number, which is one of the legal claims that you have to have a folio number. Well, it doesn't have a folio number, so it is considered a public right of way when it doesn't have a folio number like every other property does. I mean, there's so much evidence against that, just because it's adjacent to a sidewalk. Now, the properties do maintain the landscaping. Let's be clear on record. They recognize that from their property, where the folio number is, where the survey concludes it, it goes straight to onto the drive, which is the concrete. And then from the other side, on the east side as well, they own the part that goes from the concrete to their pool areas or cabanas or whatever. But the center line, which is the Miami Beach Drive under the surveys, is not their property. And if anybody could do it, imagine that one. Everybody would have a different color paver out there. Everybody would do something completely different. So they are aware that statute requires them to be responsible for the maintenance that the city plans, but they do have their landscaping companies cut the trees and whatever and take care of it and so forth. So that is the situation there. Commissioner Fernandez, thank you for those words. It makes us feel we've worked very, very hard. Oscar, obviously more than I do the typing and the editing, but he's really done a lot of research. There's a lawyer that's very aware that we are arguing this. So that gave them all these documents. So this is to us, it's just clear. We have to defend and protect our members, and that's what we're doing here. Okay. Let's see what else we can share. Oscar, anything you want to share from your beach and water quality?
No, that was all the items. Thank you.
Okay, the dates are here for under his page, which is Beach and Water Quality Working Group. These are all the dates. Make sure you attend March 15th and April 19th. Mark them on your calendar. This is all about the beach renourishment. You have a lot of reading to do here. All these links and all the meetings and agendas and everything on sargassum that you could possibly want to know is all in here as well. So a lot of valuable information. We also take screenshots throughout your meeting, so make sure you put on pretty faces, because as we speak, I take pictures. And here's information on sargassum. I think we're good with that. As far as, Justin, do you have anything on Collins South, 25th to 41st?
Nope. Big thing is, as already mentioned, the meeting next Friday to discuss 41st Street, which is an issue for both North and South.
That is correct. We are both in it together. We want to make sure that they don't eliminate that left turn lane from Collins onto 41st. As far as, let me go to public spaces, the sidewalk. There's a couple of sidewalks. Kevin, you're following up with that, I hope, right?
Yes. The sidewalks in front of Blue and Green Diamond. We actually reached out to them this morning again for the update from FDOT.
Okay. So let's go into Baylink, and Marie, you want to take that one?
Sure. I know Baylink was very controversial. There were some folks are in favor, some are not. Some are in favor of the concept, but they would like better clarification. They would like zoning. They would like other aspects to be really well detailed out by the county as the agency that would be responsible for the mass transit coming into the beach and linking the city of Miami to Miami Beach. And I think that one of the concerns that MBNA had, or in our resolution that's on screen now that Alicia is sharing, and why we detail in specifically how we feel it is important for our city commission and for our elected officials to avoid delaying this process, and with any additional tax funded paid studies, and to begin to internally discuss the logistics and operations needed to support this Baylink project, prioritize the creation of the Washington 17th Street corridor. And Alicia, if you'd like to pull it down a little further into the second page, if you scroll down towards the end, and to be able to really create that transit hub and the connection to the Baylink, and engage in those conversations and commit a long-term connection of the Metro Mover system through 36th Street and over Julia Tuttle to enhance the resiliency, economic mobility, quality of life, regional connectivity, and transit options throughout the city of Miami Beach. MidBeach cannot sustain any more cars. We need more options. We need ways to get to the city of Miami. I would love to stay on the beach all day. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that during the week, that's not possible. I do need to leave the beach several times and come in and out. And so I often get caught in those traffic jams, in the transit systems right now to get me over into the urban core are not efficient. I can't take them, and I would love to take them. I'd love to take my children and be able to get to my office in Brickell or get over and get to our activities quickly. And it's very difficult to be able to do that. Is the plan perfect? Do we know exactly other aspects and other impacts? We don't want the characteristic of our city to change. We don't want Miami Beach to change, but realistically, we have 30,000 people coming to work here every day. We have hundreds of thousands of people coming to visit us every year. That's not going to change. And traffic is just going to get worse. And our quality of life, and those of us that are paying the taxes here and are living here, is just going to get worse unless we have true solutions. And so MBNA strongly supports the Baylink project. And we truly want to see folks not continue to ask for more studies and not continue to ask for more things, but rather get the ball moving. These decisions are not made overnight. They take time. And so we do want due diligence, and we do want things to be done the right way, but we don't want us to be having this conversation 20 years from now, as we have had many iterations of these similar types of conversations in the past. And so that's MBNA's position. And if anybody has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them or comments.
I want to make a comment. So we clearly have discussed, and we are very aware of the controversy with South of Fifth and with West Ave, our neighborhood association partners here, and we get it. I mean that there's no way you can satisfy everybody. This is directed at the commissioners that are attending our meeting now, and we understand you're in a place that's very difficult to go against so many people that are so loud and so powerful. And they want what's best for their community. But when we look at things, we have to look at what's best for the city of Miami Beach. And that's the main focus. And this is just to start. Is it perfect? Would we, like Anna Marie said, we wanted to extend all the way to Julia Tuttle. We'll gladly have it at Julia Tuttle, but we already know that they can't. The state doesn't want it they're saying that the usage in MacArthur Causeway is a lot higher than 195 versus 395, so they can't do it. We get that. But it's something that needs to happen for our employees. People don't want to work in Miami Beach. If they live in Little Havana or Midtown or areas across the bridge, and they can hop on and hop off, and then we'll find solutions to get trolleys to get them over here, to get private buses for Mount Sinai, for Eden Rock, or for Fontainebleau, the big hotels that are such large employers, to pick them up in buses like they do in every major city. Chicago, for example, has a huge hospital with 20,000 employees. They bus them from the station, from the transit stations all day. And they pick them up and take them to their hospital and back and forth. And that happens in every major city. Miami Beach is not getting any smaller. It's getting bigger and more populated, and we really need to look into the future. I probably won't be able to write it. It'll probably be that far away, but at least we do what we can possibly do for the future of our children and our grandchildren and the future generations of this beautiful city. So that's my take on it. Anybody else want to comment? Let me see. We're gonna cut, see. Let's stop sharing here. I think we've covered most of the topics. The beach walk is always a hot item. The next
Commissioner Minor has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Good discussion. You know, one of the things that I had not heard when I was sitting through many of these meetings, and I kind of uncovered it and then confirmed it with our city attorney and planning department, was the potential for upzoning, that the county zoning laws preempt our zoning laws. And that's what I'm pushing for. I'd like them to, at least the county, to at least enter into some agreement with us that their zoning law, which they could do, they just haven't done it. And right now, what's scary to me is that our planning director and city attorney don't even know what the full impact of the upzoning is, and it's anywhere within a half-a-mile radius of a proposed zoning transit. So, by the way, if Alton Road ever gets included, and there is an item from another commission to include it, if it ever does get included, that would grant the upzoning, and it could even negate our voter referendums for increasing FAR. So I think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put pressure on the county to get that out of there, so at least we're not getting into some development intensity that we don't even know right now what that would mean and what the impact would be.
Okay, it's a lot of complicated information you've just given us, but we trust that you're doing whatever is best to make it happen.
Yeah, and I want to comment on that. Commissioner Minor, I really do appreciate that, especially with the intent of not changing the characteristic of the city in which we live in. And really just the purpose of this mass transit, although TODs are very economically favorable for most communities, this barrier island would not be able to support that kind of a development, or it doesn't seem feasible here. It's not in the context of our community. And so the intent of this mass transit is to simply alleviate what we currently are experiencing, which is the visitors and having more fluid connections between our urban core and the beach without bringing in the vehicles into the city and being able to commute on a daily basis quicker. And so having those negotiations and having those discussions with the county, it seems, it's, I think the spirit of the TOD and the spirit of upzoning around transit is the right spirit for Miami-Dade County, and that makes sense that that's the county's zoning laws. But for the context of our community, MBNA, we haven't discussed this internally, but it doesn't seem like it would be something that's within that context. So what I think our fear is that the more can we say yes to Baylink and discuss that. I mean, can you imagine the uproar all of us, the 100,000 residents, would give the county if they decided to upzone? I mean, isn't that something that we can deal with as it comes? I'm worried about delaying the process over and over or for additional time when we have an opportunity to move it and to be able to utilize some of those studies that were already paid for and already done.
Yep. Okay.
Understood.
Anybody else have a comment on Baylink? It's controversial to say the least, but it's been going on for 20 years is what we understand. It's a long time. So hopefully it'll be over soon. So as far as Oscar, you dealt with also, I think the only other thing that we have going on is, we can do both. Anyway, the other thing that's going on is the FPL project happening, going to be starting from 65th to 44th. Remember the nightmare that's the 65th north to 63rd has gone through for the past 6 months? Well, we understand that they're coming south now. We don't know when. We're going to be meeting with them. Anna Marie's been talking to FPL on a regular basis. So they'll be reporting on the 29th as well in the Zoom meeting. So that'll be a big one because they say that they've learned from their mistakes, that they won't make them again, that they'll be meeting with us, that they'll be working around the clock. And hopefully that's going to happen. I think Jose is left the meeting, but Kevin, have you heard anything about that? Welcome, Kevin, by the way. You've been very quiet there. We've kept you quiet. Kevin is very helpful to all of us. Honestly, he's really amazing with the MBNA in helping us coordinate, communicating with everybody in all the different departments. So do you know anything about FPL? What's happening since Jose is not here?
That's something I'll look into. I know FPNL should have completed that northern project from 58th to 63rd Street. And I believe what's pending, they just needed to restore the roadway. I drove through there, I want to say yesterday or the day before. While it is restored, I mean, it's not, to our standards, it is a bit bumpy. So I think going into, and I don't know if Jose is still on, but I think going into the end of March or mid-March, DOT is supposed to conduct their repaving efforts. And I think that's what's going to address that area since it's going to get repaved already. But let me reconfirm with FPNL and Public Works to see if they've committed to repaving that area sooner. And then I'll share that with you all. But right now, like you said, all lanes are open, and that's a huge relief. And then for, I don't know what residents are on that are in the northern section. Last week, they were dealing with the repaving overnight. So we got a few complaints about that. But this week, I haven't heard any complaints. They're not there at night. So all lanes open. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. So what we would appreciate it if you can give us an ETA of the timeline for the resurfacing. They're all asking us. Susanna was on early, and I don't see her on now. She's one of the major representatives of the north section. So they all want to know, when is the resurfacing going to start? Is it going to be done at night? Is a lane going to be blocked again? What is the plan? We just need to know. Communication. It's essential for us to be able to report it to our members. If
Definitely. Yep. We'll look into that. And as soon as we
Yeah.
know, you'll know for sure.
And then, of course, when the south side, second phase of the second nightmare will begin. So we need to know that as well. And then, of course, the final thing as far as Collins is the monster project, which is the big one, the Collins Corridor Study, which is 41 to 63. And they're going to give us an update on that. We kind of put it on hold. They said it was about 3 or 4 years away. Honestly, after what we've gone through with traffic, I'm not pushing it. We are not going to be pushing this. We need a break. We need a breather. So let's see what they say as far as FDOT. We don't have anybody from FDOT on tonight, but they will be on the 29th. So we'll get an update there as far as that one. For those that don't know, I think everybody knows what I'm talking about, but it's a whole restructure of the entire stretch of Collins Avenue from 41 to 63. This has been going on for 2.5 years. All kinds of studies have been done by Renaissance, a company that was hired by FDOT to conduct these studies. And we selected one of the better of the bad options, but it's a complete restructuring and resurfacing of traffic patterns of the entire stretch. So that's a big one. And but let's get over the little ones first, and then we'll deal with that one later on. What else do we have, Anna Marie? Do you have anything else on your agenda? Save. Okay, I have a message here on chat.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've been chatting and trying to let everyone know. My voice is a little gone today. So thank you, Alicia, so much for facilitating, and Oscar, Deborah, Justin, Esteban, Michelle, Jose, and all of the board of directors that are here with us today. You all have done an amazing job serving on this board this past year. Many of us have been part of MBNA since 2017. It's time to see some new leadership come in. We have opportunities for both our hotel and our condominium seats coming up in April. April 19th will be our annual meeting. If you are considering or would be interested in serving in a leadership position, either as part of our working groups or on our board of directors, I encourage you to reach out, get to know what the process is about, get to know what the commitment looks like, and get yourself involved. It's a very rewarding and wonderful experience, and it's always important to have new leadership come in and to just have fresh ideas and fresh perspectives and fresh styles of leadership. And so I welcome that and look forward to receiving letters of intent that you'd like to run. The only thing you have to be is, one, if you are not the designee member of your property for your hotel or your condominium, you have to have a letter that supports you from your board of directors or your management. So I do not sit on my board of directors at my condominium, but the president every year, any year that I would like to run, that person would allow me, give me permission via letter. So it's the only thing we would request for you all to submit, and look forward to speaking with some of you and hopefully having some of you on board soon enough. Thank you, everyone, for the
Oh,
opportunity.
wait 1 second. Jay Goldstein saved the 150 Airport Express bus for the Julia Tuttle. I don't want to close this off without addressing that. So just keep that in mind.
And you know, we hear that often. A lot of our members really love that 150 Airport Express. We heard from Commissioner Higgins last month. That looks like a slim shot, that we're going to be able to keep it, but let's keep on advocating and figuring out when they do roll out the full plan, what that looks like for us. Anything that we can do. I haven't seen the express bus that I was kind of hoping to see. I heard it was already going to be out. I don't know if maybe somebody else, maybe Danny Reyes from Commissioner Higgins' office has an update on that. But I'm not familiar with where that, I don't know where that is, but we had heard it was going to already be out. And I was hoping that would help give some, alleviate some of our congestion, but I haven't felt that impact.
Hi, everyone. Are you referring to the Julia Tuttle Express bus?
I am.
I do have some information on that. I am pulling it up. So it's supposed to go on the shoulder of the Julia Tuttle Expressway. 1 second.
Is it already operational? Is it already operating?
I believe so, yes.
And what is the frequency?
I've never seen it. Has anybody seen it? On the shoulder of Julia Tuttle? I haven't.
Me neither. That's why I'm just wondering.
Maybe it's about to launch.
Yeah, I got an email about it. I'm looking for it now.
Okay, well, we'll update all the members at a
send
later
it to
time.
us. Send it to us, Danny. Send
And we'll
it
put it on our website.
And we'll put it on our website. Send it to, the Miami MidBeach neighborhood email. And then we'll put everything you send, we make public. So go ahead.
Great. And then just one thing I do want to mention. Next week, the county is starting a program called Operation Greenlight. It's from the city clerk. I'll send this for you as well. And it's an opportunity to pay, if you have any outstanding court fees, citation, parking fees, or anything like that, there's usually a collection fee that's associated with paying that fee. From March 10th through the 19th, the county will be waiving that fee. So if you have any outstanding fees that need to be paid, that's a good time to do it because it will be less than what it usually is. And I'll send that over to you all so you can put it on the website as well.
Send that to us. Flyers, newsletters, commissioners, anytime. I have a space now for you on the website that's a special for you. And anytime you send me anything, I just immediately post it under your name and your pictures. And then we distribute, and we're getting a lot of hits on the website lately. So make sure you just go ahead and send it to me. You can send it to the MBNA email, and Anna Marie and I get it. So all of us get it, actually. So that's a great way to communicate anything you'd like to share. Commissioner Higgins, we put her, whenever she does something, we put it up there as well. And also there's a page on meetings with all the scheduled meetings, and there's also all the flyers of all social events throughout Miami Beach. So if people have a one source to see what's happening in South Beach and Ocean Drive with the concerts and all of that good stuff. So I think that's it. And Marie, you want to close the meeting? Your voice, poor thing.
Sure thing. Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you, everybody, again for attending. And we look forward to seeing you at our annual meeting in person at the Blue Diamond. We're going to have some special guests there. We're going to have a special performance. We'll have food. We'll have Alina Hudak there as well. And hopefully all of our members and maybe even a new board of directors. So we'll see what happens. So I look forward to seeing everyone in person. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Good night.
Have a great night.
Good night.